Okay, so the other three sections all just kind of build around things we've already touched on in 6.1. So this should go fairly quickly. So section 6.2, token-based processing, that's just how we process text. That is, rather than looking at every single character, we break it up into tokens. So we will look at the structure of files, consuming input, this idea of consuming input, scanner parameters, and paths and directories. So when we say token-based processing, that's what we've been doing. Next int will grab the next token if it's an integer, or give you an error otherwise. Next double grabs the next token and treats it as a double. Next just grabs whatever's next and treats it as a string. So if we go back and look at, let's open up. So if we look at it here, when we start, our tokenizer starts right there. And then I'm hitting, you can't see this, but I'm hitting the right arrow on my keyboard, and it takes me to the first token, which is 1604. Then we can think of it as consuming that token, right? That's gone once we use next. And then the next token is the. And then once I read in the, it's gone. And then tragedy. And when we tokenize, we always... or we traditionally throw away the separator character. The separator character in this case is a space or a new line, white space characters. But you can change it so that it treats commas or semicolons or anything as the separator character. But tokens are a series of strings separated by the separator character. That's all there is to it. And all this section of the slides is talking about is how can we improve this code. We can do what we did with our Hamlet code, which is instead of having a for loop, which will count a certain number, or which will grab a certain number of values, we can say while it has something next, right? That way we can keep grabbing as long as there's more text to grab, which is the correct way to write file processing. Right? Rather than knowing, having the people who create the files have to enter in 5 values or 10 values or some pre-agreed upon number, we just keep reading it in until we hit the end. This is what we just talked about. The last thing in 6.2 is the path, which is what we talked about earlier. So when my relative path means from this directory. Right now I'm in Hamlet. So when I run this program, anything that's in this Hamlet directory is available to my Java code. If I want it to be somewhere else, I need to give it the full path. And you see, this is the full path for this computer. The drive /user /gwayland /downloads /bluej 3.1.5 examples Hamlet. It's a little bit different on a Windows machine, but it's the same idea. And if you click up at the top in the not the URL bar, but the not the path bar, in the resource locator bar, you will see the full path to whatever folder you're looking at. Okay, that's 6.2. 6.3, even easier. How do we process one line at a time? It's easy. ReadLine. That's it. That's all we do. We grab a whole line using ReadLine. So if you're dealing with a problem that has variable length lines, or for whatever reason you want to look at each line at a time. For example, if each line was, say, one student record, right? I want to grab that whole line and then process it separately. I can grab the whole line using ReadLine. Now once I have it, well then maybe I want to break it up into pieces again once I have that line. Easy. I create a new scanner using that string. That's it. That's all there is to it. And in fact, this is your second in-class assignment this week. So go ahead and pause this video and work on this. Take the Hamlet program that you already did and alter it so that it doesn't count the number of ands, it counts the number of lines with and. So now, instead of using next, you're going to use ReadLine to grab each line and then search that line for and. If it has an and, then add that to the count. All right, once you've done that, we will go to 6.4, which is just outputting files with print stream. This is an example of outputting a file. We need to create a print stream object based upon our file object. And then when we print, instead of printing to system.out, we're printing to the output file we created. That's all there is to it. Let's go back to Hamlet here. And I'm going to look at my code. I'm going to create a new method to do this. We'll do public static void test. And of course, throws. I'm going to copy this because I'm lazy. File not found. Oop. So just like I have in my code here, I'm going to create a print stream object based on the file object. I'm going to do it as two separate lines to make it a little bit more clear. File f equals new file, and I'm going to call it output.text. And then I'm going to say print stream output equals new print stream f. And then I'm going to say output dot print line. This is in the file, and we'll add another line, output dot print line. So is this, and I will compile it. Oh, and it can't find print stream. Why can't it find print stream? Oh, because I did not capitalize the S. Compile it. Now it compiles with no problems. So I go back to here and I run test, and it displays nothing. It shows me nothing. Well, let's go back here, and we now see output.text is here. If I double click that, it shows me this is in the file, so is this. So everything that I printed out went to the output file instead of going to the terminal. That is all there is to creating files for output. That's it. And again, just like creating opening files for input, you need to either give a relative path or a full path. Once you open the files, you can check them for can you execute them, can you read them, or can you write them. There's do you have permission to do those things. It is sometimes useful to check if you can write them in a true program. For the purposes of what we're doing, you never need to worry about that. Okay, that is 6.4. That is everything we need for lecture this week. You should be able to do all of your in-class assignments, and you should be able to do all of the assigned practice IT. I will not be there Wednesday night, but if you have any questions, post them in the forum below or shoot me an email. Actually, preferably post them in the forum. That way other people can see it if they have the same question. All right? See you next week.